They told us that life began in the warm, salt-thickened oceans of Earth. They told us that the moon was a dead rock, a silent witness to our evolution. They were wrong. History is a veil, and today we tear it away. Millions of years before the first fire was lit by a human hand on Earth, a different heart was beating in the cosmos, not on a blue planet, but on a silver one. The moon was not a desert, it was a cradle, a sanctuary of energy and light, vibrating with a frequency we have long forgotten. This is not a story of what we became. This is a memory of who we were before the world began. Across the vast, dust-swept plains of the lunar surface, they moved. The first tribe, humanoid yet primordial. Their bodies were draped in the furs of creatures that never walked the earth, their skin marked with glowing pigments that hummed with the moon's own resonance. They did not speak as we do. They felt the vibrations of the ground beneath them. They were the children of the lunar crust, born from the marriage of stardust and ancient stone. In their eyes, you could see the reflection of 1,000 galaxies. They were the bridge between the animal and the divine, living in a world where gravity was a suggestion and spirit was the only law. Deep beneath the craters, hidden from the cold vacuum of space, lay the great veins, rivers of pure energy, glowing with hues of deep gold and electric blue, flowed through the lunar mantle like blood through a living body. The tribe followed these currents. To them, the moon was a giant battery, a source of infinite power that sustained their life and expanded their consciousness. In the crystal vaults of the underground, they built their sanctuaries, not with steel or stone, but with intention. Here, the laws of physics were different. Here, the tribe learned the secrets of the universe, whispered by the very rocks that cradled them.
At the very heart of the silver sanctuary, where the lunar heartbeat pulses through the deep roots of the mountains, stood the one they called the silent conductor, the shaman. He did not look with his eyes, but with the ancient memory of the stars. Before him stood the primal monolith, a fragment of the void, cool to the touch yet burning with an invisible ancient fire. As his weathered palms met the obsidian surface, the walls of the cave seemed to dissolve into stardust. He was no longer a man standing in a cavern. He was a spirit drifting through the currents of time. He felt the moon's energy rising through his feet, coursing through his veins like liquid gold. In this total silence, the shaman saw the birth of worlds. He saw the earth nearby, still a chaotic cradle of fire and storms, but his spirit was pulled further toward a distant crimson ache in the night sky. He saw Mars. He felt the iron-scented winds of a future home. He felt the call of those who had gone before, a cosmic resonance that whispered one single truth. The moon was the beginning, but the red sands were the destiny. He remained there, suspended in the light, as the secrets of the universe were etched into his soul. With the patience of the ancient tides, the tribe began the great mapping. They did not write on parchment. but on the living skin of the moon herself. Guided by the shaman's visions, they used tools of obsidian and light to carve the geometry of the heavens into the gray regolith. Every line was a memory, every symbol was a bridge to the fourth planet. They were cartographers of the infinite, etching the paths of the stars into the stone so that those who followed would never be lost in the dark. They knew the silver cradle was becoming cold. The great rivers of energy were receding, the lunar heart beating slower as the cosmic cycles shifted. The migration was no longer a choice. It was an evolutionary whisper, a sacred necessity. They gathered their wisdom, their stories, and their spirits, preparing for the leap across the black void. They were the fierce nomads of the stars, leaving behind a legacy buried under miles of dust, waiting for a future generation that would finally be brave enough to look up and remember. As you stand beneath the night sky and look up at the silver disk of the moon tonight, remember this: you are not looking at a barren, forgotten graveyard. You are looking at a library of lost whispers. You are looking at your first ancestral home. The first men are still there. Their echoes live in the absolute silence of the craters, and their essence remains in the pulse of the energy still hidden beneath the gray dust. The awakening has finally begun. The veil is thinning, and the truth of our interplanetary past is rising to the surface once more. We are the descendants of those star wanderers, and their journey is our journey. The story of the lunar tribe is not just a myth, it is a blueprint for our return to the stars. As we prepare our own vessels to reach the red sands of Mars, we find their footprints waiting for us, guiding us home. The cycle is closing, the ancient energy is stirring, and this is only the very beginning. Welcome back to the stars. Welcome to Interplanetary Prehistoric.